Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. In Madrid, it continues to rain and it continues to have miserable weather. And yes, it's winter, but this weather is putting a huge span in the works when it comes to my marathon training. It's in nearly 3 months' time. And between a flu and this terrible weather, my training is not looking amazing. Um, and I guess I shouldn't be complaining because I know there are people in other parts of the world where it's bad. It's very bad. So I hope you're all well wherever you are. And today I want to talk about something that I've been mulling over as I work on writing my next book. And it also kind of a thought sparked when I was speaking to my lovely friend Sal Capizzi, and he had interviewed me for a podcast, and we had such a fantastic conversation. And one of the main conversations centered around how hotels say they want a world class wellness facility. But when you actually go beyond the surface and you dig deeper, you actually see that the system they've set up tells a very different story. So today, I want to talk about how tomorrow's wellness leader will need to shift from being that hero to actually being a steward, and why the future of hotel wellness, and in fact, any wellness, doesn't matter in which industry it is, any wellness will not succeed if it's purely based on grit. What's going to make it succeed is governance. So, hotel wellness has never really had a wellness leadership problem. The problem has always been in its governance. So, this is how it looks. Typically, an owner, an investor, a hotel chain will invest in a solid wellness offering. And through the years, we've seen the wellness offerings going from the dungeons, the basements, spare back of house facilities to now probably prime real estate, rooftop. But despite the facilities changing location and wellness being put forward as being the whole point of a particular hotel or a particular brand, when you dig deep, you see that the structure has always been the same. And this is how it looks. You have a wellness director that is hired, an amazing wellness director. They probably have a series that probably decorated with a series of accolades, a lot of experience under their belt. They are fantastic. And this one wellness director is told to hold the entire weight of the wellness business: operations, finance, marketing, training, menu creation, sales, etc. And on top of that, they do not have real authority. And rarely do they have a say, a genuine say, in how the budget is created. And when the day to day gets tough, it's the wellness director who continues to step in to either cover reception or to step in and do a treatment or to work 7, 8, 10 days in a row. Now, you could argue that other leaders within a hotel, the director of food and beverage, the director of rooms, the hotel manager, etc., they do the same. Granted, 100%. but they have a very different authority to wellness leaders. Traditionally, hospitality has consisted of your director of rooms and your director of food and beverage, and everything goes underneath that in terms of operations. Then you have the director of people and culture, director of finance, director of sales and marketing, but that has always been the structure. Wellness has been this kind of new kid in the block. We barely have 20, 25 years, maybe 30 if we're pushing it, in the traditional hospitality model. And that also, we come from a spa director background. And those who have been promoted to a spa director were previously a spa manager. And when they were previously a spa manager, they're probably a therapist or receptionist who did work that the hotel or the operations team of the hotel did not want to do. And they slowly worked their way up the ranks without training, without guidance, without mentorship, without authority. So here's why this hero model never works. Because this is what has happened time and again. And I have seen this happen in my 20 plus years in this industry and probably 10 years before that. And it continues to happen today. When that one strong wellness director leaves, then the entire business collapses underneath them because there was never a structure in the first place. So, hotel wellness doesn't have a leadership problem. It has a governance problem. There is no structure put in place. And what we have learned as wellness leaders is to become that hero, that person who's going to save wellness, put it on the map, and make it perform. And the end result is we're doing all that without any authority or structure. And we end up burning out, getting fed up, hitting a crystal ceiling, this glass ceiling that we cannot cross by. We don't have any other career opportunities very rarely, and we're forced to leave a job that we love because there are no other career prospects for us. And hotels lose that amazing talent. So we've seen today that hotels have a governance issue. There's no structure. And that lack of structure when it comes to wellness has just promoted a hero model. And we've also seen why this hero model doesn't work. From the hotel's perspective, it seems something that you can control easily. It's economical. You have one person managing the show. But it doesn't serve the wellness director because they crash and burn out. And it doesn't serve the business because when that wellness director crashes and burns out, the whole business collapses. Now, why does that happen? Why is it that hotel wellness does not have that structure? The reason they do not have that structure is that they continue to treat wellness as a feature instead of an asset. So when we talk about a feature, we're talking about what's the best wellness concept we can implement? What's the best piece of equipment we can add? What looks nice? What's easily managed? What will not be a headache for me? Asset thinking, on the other hand, is what do I need for this wellness offering to not only succeed, but also endure long in time, over time? What exactly do we need to put into place to ensure that this operation endures? And hotels have never thought of wellness as an asset, purely because traditionally the direct revenue generated from wellness related offerings, that is predominantly spa treatments, has not been more than 2 to 3% of total hotel revenue. Now I hear figures like 8% or 10% flying out, but again, in our industry, we have not been good at comparing apples with apples. We've always been very creative in how we report our figures, particularly in wellness. So when you're creating a feature, it's only normal that it doesn't require a structure. But we know where that leads us to, to 2 or 3% of total hotel revenue. And many times, many of these wellness operations are heavily subsidized. Whereas if you treat your wellness offering as an asset, something whose value compounds over time, you think about it in a very different way. Now, I'm going to give an example because we've just bought a beautiful piece of land up north. So if you see this backdrop, this beautiful mountain, it's me manifesting it. So in my study, I will have that behind me, or rather, I'll be facing that. But when I'm recording, I'll put that behind me. And we're having this conversation about whether we should have a garden or we should just cement it. And clearly, David's going to be working on the garden, not myself. But it was an interesting conversation we were having. And clearly, the one who's going to look after the garden and cares about the garden is David. I'm going to be full disclosure. And my initial reaction was just, put something pretty out there. We'll water it now and then. We can put this irrigation system, pull out the weeds, and that's great. And that is fundamentally management in hotels. You're managing a feature. And David is saying, so no, we have to know that the garden space, the best garden space, is in the northeast corner of the plot where the most sun shines. And in this part of Spain, these kind of plants work best. And these kind of plants last more during particular seasons. And this is why this plant works with that plant. What I learned about plants and trees and which get along well, which don't get along well, and how to look after a garden. Now, David was thinking of the garden in terms of stewardship, instead, in terms of an asset that we're going to look after. Well, he's going to look after and nurture and care for. So that is the difference, in a very butchered way, between management thinking, just put the beautiful garden, some beautiful plants, pull out the weeds, irrigation system, done. Compared to, what should I plant here? Where should I plant it so they get the maximum sun? What kind of structure do I need to put into place so that this garden lasts year on year, given our piece of land, given the natural fauna around us? That's asset thinking. That's land-placed intelligence. That is culture, community-based intelligence. So the reason there is no governance in hotels is because wellness has always been the feature. Without us realizing it, I genuinely believe today, those of you who are listening to me, you believe in wellness. And you definitely want to do it right. And of course, you want a wellness facility that is, cutting edge, serves people. But I also know that you want a wellness offering that is going to endure over time. And the way you get that is by creating a structure that supports this asset thinking. So you have someone who thinks about the strategy, and you have someone else who looks after the day to day, who nurtures, who stewards that wellness asset, not only today, but long into the future. And here's a note for wellness leaders out there. The wellness leaders that are going to succeed in the next decade, in the next era of wellness, are not the heroes, are not those wellness leaders who can hold everything. Instead, they're those wellness leaders who refuse to work in a system that is broken, who refuse to fix a broken system through personal sacrifice and doubling down with work, effort, and grit. And instead, stewarding a system that works even when they're not present. That is tomorrow's wellness leader. And tomorrow's wellness leader cannot succeed in today's current feature thinking hospitality model that we have, where there is no real governance. Wellness is treated as a feature, and the hero model only penalizes not only the wellness business, but also our wellness teams. Teams that are needed and are in high demand today and going forward. So today, I just wanted to share just very raw ideas that are coming up as I am writing the outline of my next book, and also really trying to identify where the actual flaws are, or where the actual breaks are in the hospitality wellness business model. And that can apply to any wellness business model. So the question to ask yourself is, do you have a structure? Do you have a coherent governance in place? Or are you making your wellness director be the system? We are favoring that hero model. And inevitably, if you're doing that, wellness is still a feature for you. A feature you have, you control, you manage, instead of an asset that you steward, that you nurture, and that you ensure its value compounds over time. Those are two very different ways of thinking. And tomorrow's wellness leader, the wellness leader who manages to successfully steward wellness assets, is not a hero. They're a steward. They don't hold everything and crash and burn. Instead, they ensure a system and structures in place, and they steward what has been created to ensure that it endures over time. So, my wellness leader friends, that's all for me today. I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.